The United Gulf. How Iran's aggression forged a unified front. Part 1. A joint force against a common enemy. The Gulf countries have taken a significant step. In response to mounting pressure from the Islamic Republic of Iran, already under siege from the United States and Israel, the 6 nations of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, have formed a joint military force. According to media reports, the Gulf states have announced their full support for Bahrain, whose king Hamad bin Isa al-Khalifa has publicly accused Iran of posing a direct threat to the security of the Gulf nations. The king's warning was clear. Iran must stop interfering in the internal affairs of Bahrain and its neighbors. The 6 nation GCC, comprising Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, and Qatar, has reiterated its full support for Bahrain's security measures. Secretary General Mohammed al-Hamad, referred to as Mohammed Abu Dhabi in your source, stated that the Gulf countries' position is now unified. This joint force will engage in all joint actions necessary to protect the stability, security, and interests of the Gulf states. The security unity formula of our countries, the Secretary General said, is considered part of the integration and common interests of the Gulf nations. Our goal is to unite as one. Part 2. The accusations against Iran. The Gulf states' statement came after Bahrain's King Hamad issued a formal warning to Iran. The king accused Tehran of carrying out a series of acts of aggression against his country. He pointed to Iranian interference in internal affairs, territorial threats, and a pattern of destabilizing behavior across the region. The Bahraini prince, referring to a senior royal figure, openly condemned all Iranian actions that have caused trouble in the Gulf countries. He noted that these actions have been observed throughout the region, particularly during the 40-day air campaign conducted by the United States and Israel. However, it is important to note that during that 40-day campaign, U.S. military bases in the Gulf did not launch missiles from those countries. The United States chose not to use Gulf territory as a launching point for its strikes. But Iran's response was indiscriminate. Tehran launched attacks on the Gulf countries, not only targeting U.S. military bases in the Middle East, but also striking factories, energy facilities, and civilian areas. The targeted nations included Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. Part 3. The toll of Iranian attacks. The numbers are staggering. According to official statements, the Gulf countries' air defense systems intercepted 194 Iranian missiles, 523 Iranian drones. These interceptions occurred before the ceasefire that was established on the 8th of the month. The sheer volume of projectiles launched by Iran demonstrates the scale of the assault. The Gulf states were not passive observers in the conflict between Iran, the United States, and Israel. They were active targets. The Kingdom of Bahrain, which also hosts a U.S. naval base, has been particularly vocal about the threat. The Prince of Bahrain stated that the increasing tensions show that Gulf countries must cooperate to confront their enemies, both hidden and open. While the prince did not explicitly name the Islamic Republic of Iran, observers saw his meaning clearly. The current situation has truly united the Gulf countries because the Islamic Republic of Iran is now seen as a common enemy by all of them. Part 4. The isolation of Tehran before the outbreak of the war. The Islamic Republic of Iran maintained good relations with most countries in the region. The only exception was Israel, its historical enemy. Iran had diplomatic ties, trade relationships, and political alliances across the Gulf. But those relationships have been shattered. Iran's indiscriminate attacks, launching missiles and drones at Gulf countries as a show of force against the United States, have forced the Gulf states to rethink their position. They have strengthened their internal solidarity. They now see the Islamic Republic as their enemy. Observers note that the current regime in Tehran is becoming increasingly isolated. Its actions have made the Gulf countries consider it unsuitable as an ally to protect their interests in the Middle East. Some of these countries have even begun to explore better relations with Israel, a move that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Not all Arab nations are under attack, however. Countries such as Oman and Egypt have not been subjected to Iranian missiles or attacks by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In fact, both Oman and Egypt are positioning themselves as mediators between the United States and Iran, seeking to de escalate the conflict through diplomacy. Part 5. The Jeddah Summit. In response to the growing hostility from Iran, Gulf leaders held a critical meeting last week in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The focus of the summit was the integration of security and defense forces across the 6 GCC nations. The leaders discussed the rapid deployment of joint command posts to counter attacks from Iran or other terrorist groups. The goal is to create a unified military structure that can respond instantly to any threat without waiting for coordination between individual nations. The message from Jeddah was unmistakable. The Gulf countries are no longer willing to defend themselves separately. They will defend themselves together. Part 6. The United Nations Dimension. The Gulf countries have not limited their response to military measures. They have also pursued diplomatic action at the highest levels. Bahrain has been at the forefront of requesting intervention from the United Nations Security Council. The Mediterranean countries, a reference to the Gulf states' allies in the region, have repeatedly expressed their complaints to the Security Council, demanding condemnation and action against the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United Nations Security Council met once to discuss the U.S.-led war on Iran. By a majority vote, the Council issued a statement condemning all violence against the Middle East region. The statement urged the current aggressors not to resort to violence against countries in the region and called for an end to any acts of retaliation. But statements from the United Nations have done little to stop the missiles. Part 7. What the Joint Force Means. The formation of a joint Gulf military force is significant for several reasons. 1. Unified command structure. Instead of 6 separate national militaries with different chains of command, the GCC countries will now have a joint command post capable of coordinating real-time responses to Iranian attacks. 2. Shared air defense. Iran's missile and drone attacks have shown the vulnerability of individual nations. A shared air defense network means that an attack on one Gulf country is an attack on all. 3. Collective deterrence. Iran may be willing to risk a conflict with a single Gulf state, but facing all 6 together with their combined military power and access to U.S. support is a far more daunting prospect. 4. Political unity. Beyond military coordination, the joint force represents a political statement. The Gulf countries are saying to Iran, to the United States, to Israel, and to the world, we stand together. Part 8. The Observer's Perspective. Analysts watching the region have noted a dramatic shift. The Gulf states have moved from viewing Iran as a complex neighbor, sometimes rival, sometimes partner, to viewing it as a clear and present enemy. Iran has united the Gulf countries, one observer noted, not through diplomacy, not through cooperation, through missiles, through drones, through indiscriminate attacks on civilian areas and energy facilities. The irony is not lost on Tehran. By trying to show strength against the United States, Iran has alienated its neighbors. By launching attacks on Gulf soil, it has turned potential allies into confirmed enemies. Even if the United States does not launch missiles from the 6 Gulf Arab states, those states will still be severely damaged by Iranian missiles and heavy artillery. The Prince of Bahrain's message was clear. There must be loyalty and unity in the Gulf region. There is no room for neutrality when Iran is targeting your cities. Part 9. What comes next? The joint Gulf military force is still in its early stages. Command structures must be finalized. Rules of engagement must be agreed upon. Equipment and communication systems must be standardized. But the direction is clear. The Gulf countries are preparing for a future in which they cannot rely solely on the United States for their defense. They are building their own capacity to respond to Iranian aggression, with or without American support. Observers understand that when these countries create a common defense strategy and present themselves as a single military force in the region, it is done to respond to what they perceive as a clear threat. There will be a retaliatory attack by the Gulf countries if the United States and Israel start a second wave of aggression against Iran. The Gulf states are no longer bystanders in the conflict between Washington and Tehran. They are active participants, and they are preparing for the worst. Part 10. The Unanswered Question. The formation of the joint force raises an important question. Is this the beginning of a permanent military alliance among the Gulf states, or a temporary response to the immediate Iranian threat? The answer likely lies in Tehran's next move. If Iran continues its missile and drone attacks, the Gulf countries will have no choice but to deepen their military integration. If Iran pulls back and seeks a diplomatic resolution, the joint force may remain as a deterrent, a sword to be used only if necessary. For now, the 6 nations of the GCC have made their position clear. They are united, they are prepared, and they will defend themselves together.